In the heart of Evergreen Zoological Park, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests on the outskirts of Seattle, the gorilla exhibit stood as a testament to both human ingenuity and nature's untamed spirit. The enclosure was a sprawling habitat, designed to mimic the lush rainforests of Central Africa. Towering trees with broad leaves that filtered sunlight into dappled patterns, a shallow stream trickling over smooth rocks, and massive boulders where the troop could climb and survey their domain. Thick, reinforced glass walls separated the gorillas from the winding paths where visitors strolled, cameras in hand, marveling at the primate's raw power and quiet intelligence. Titan was the undisputed king of this artificial jungle. At 28 years old and weighing over 600 pounds, his silver-streaked back gleamed like polished armor under the morning sun. His arms, thick as tree trunks, ended in hands that could crush stone or gently cradle a leaf. Most days, Titan embodied serenity. He'd lounge against a weathered log, peeling bananas with deliberate precision, his deep-set eyes scanning the horizon with a wisdom that seemed almost human. The younger gorillas, two females, Kira and Luna, and a juvenile male named Jax, deferred to him, orbiting his calm presence like planets around a star. But on this crisp autumn morning in November 2025, something shattered that peace. A low rumble echoed through the earth, faint at first, like distant thunder. Titan froze mid-bite, his massive head tilting toward the eastern slope beyond the fence. The slope rose gently from the exhibit, covered in manicured grass and dotted with picnic benches for visitors. It was a popular spot for families, offering panoramic views of the gorillas below. Titan's nostrils flared, sniffing the air. His chest expanded, and with a sudden, explosive motion, he slammed his fists into the ground. The boom reverberated across the enclosure, shaking leaves from branches and sending birds scattering into the sky. Visitors on the paths below gasped. Children clutched their parents' hands, eyes wide with a mix of fear and fascination. "Mommy, what's wrong with the big monkey?" a little girl whimpered. Her mother pulled her back, whispering assurances. Zoo staff, clad in khaki uniforms, exchanged uneasy glances. Radios crackled to life. Code yellow at Gorilla Ridge. Titans displaying agitation. Among the crowd, a small boy named Eli, just turning 5, stood transfixed. His curly brown hair tousled by the wind. He pressed his tiny palm against the cool glass. Eli had wandered ahead of his kindergarten group, drawn by the gorilla's playful antics earlier. Now, his teacher, Ms. Harper, scanned the group frantically. "Eli? Where's Eli?" Titan pounded the ground again, the impact vibrating through the glass like a drumbeat of warning. His eyes, dark and piercing, locked onto something beyond the boy. Up the slope, where the earth met the sky, he paced now, his massive frame moving, with urgent grace, muscles rippling under thick fur. This wasn't the typical chest-beating display for dominance. This was raw distress, a primal alarm that no one seemed to heed. Sarah Ellis, the lead primate curator, was in the staff lounge when her radio buzzed. At 35, Sarah had dedicated her life to animals, her sharp blue eyes and calloused hands bearing the marks of years spent in enclosures around the world. She'd started as a volunteer in her teens, worked her way through vet school, and now oversaw the gorilla program at Evergreen. "Emergency at Gorilla Ridge," the voice crackled. "Titan's gone berserk." Sarah bolted from her chair, coffee spilling forgotten on the table. She knew Titan better than anyone. He'd arrived at the zoo 4 years ago, a rescue from a devastating landslide in the Virunga Mountains of Rwanda. Not Cabal, as some misremembered logs stated, but a remote conservation site. The reports had been sparse. A mudslide wiped out his troop, leaving him battered but alive, clinging to a tiny infant that didn't survive the aftermath. Sarah had nursed him back to health, watching as he slowly integrated with the new group. He was gentle, almost melancholic, never aggressive toward humans. By the time she reached the exhibit, Chaos reigned. Visitors backed away, phones out to capture the spectacle. Staff formed a loose perimeter, one young intern named Mia fumbling with a tranquilizer dart gun. "He's charging the fence," someone shouted. Titan lunged forward, his shoulder slamming into the reinforced mesh. The barrier shuddered, a bolt loosening with a metallic ping. Eli, still at the glass, didn't flinch. His small face lit with curiosity, he waved tentatively. Titan halted inches away, breath fogging the pain. For a heartbeat, their eyes met. Primate and child, separated by worlds yet connected in that frozen moment. Sarah pushed through the crowd, scooping Eli up. "Hey, buddy, let's get you back to your group." Her voice was calm, but her heart thundered. Eli pointed at Titan. "He's sad," the boy said simply. Ms. Harper rushed over, face pale. "Oh God, I'm so sorry." He slipped away during the head count. As Sarah handed Eli off, she turned back to Titan. He wasn't focused on the boy anymore. His gaze pierced through the crowd, up the slope. A faint tremor rippled underfoot, subtle, like a distant train. Most dismissed it as imagination, but Sarah felt it, and so did Titan. He let out a low guttural moan, pressing his palms into the soil as if listening to the earth's secrets. In the control room later that morning, Sarah reviewed the footage with her team. The screens flickered, replaying Titan's charge in slow motion. "Look," she said, pointing. "He's not aggressive toward Eli. His head's angled higher, toward the ridge." Mia leaned in. "Maybe a squirrel or something? Or the kids were too noisy." Sarah shook her head. "Titan's not like that. Pull up his file." The digital records loaded. Intake notes from Rwanda, behavioral logs, medical history. Buried in an old attachment was a grainy photo that made Sarah's blood run cold. Titan, mud-caked and gaunt, cradling a tiny gorilla infant against his chest. The caption, "Adult male protected 18-month-old during landslide. Infant succumbed to injuries en route to facility." 4 years ago. The infant would have been about Eli's age now. Sarah's mind raced. Was Titan reliving that horror? Did he see Eli as a stand-in for his lost child? Another tremor shook the room, stronger this time. Alarms blared faintly from the seismic monitors the zoo had installed after recent minor quakes in the region. Evergreen sat on a fault line, prone to shifts, but nothing major in decades. The slope above the exhibit had been flagged as moderately unstable in a recent geologist's report, but budget cuts delayed reinforcements. Sarah grabbed her radio. "We need to clear the area, now." Her supervisor, Dr. Harlan, a bureaucratic man in his 50s, scoffed over the line. "For a gorilla tantrum, we have protocols, Sarah. Tranquilize if needed." "No," she insisted. "He's warning us." But as she spoke, Titan began testing the enclosure's weak spot, an older concrete wall at the rear, hidden from view. His claws scraped the surface, muscles coiling like springs. Flash back to 4 years earlier in the misty highlands of Rwanda. Titan, then known as Kibo in his wild troop, roamed the volcanic slopes with his family. The air was thick with the scent of bamboo and rain-soaked earth. Kibo was a young silverback, fierce yet tender, especially toward his firstborn. A playful infant he called Little One in the silent language of gestures and grunts. The signs started subtly. Unusual rumbles in the ground, birds fleeing en masse, a restlessness in the troop. Kibo sensed it first, his sensitive feet picking up vibrations humans would miss. He gathered his family closer, but the humans at the nearby research station dismissed it as seasonal weather. Then came the storm. Torrential rains turned the slopes to mud. Kibo woke to the roar of the earth giving way. Boulders tumbled, trees snapped like twigs. He scooped up Little One, shielding him with his body as the mudslide engulfed them. For days they clung together in the debris, Kibo's strength the only barrier against death. Rescuers found them, Kibo battered, Little One alive but frail. At the sanctuary, vets separated them for treatment. Kibo's roars echoed through the night, a father's desperate plea. 3 days later, little one's tiny heart failed from internal injuries. Kibo's world shattered. He refused food, stared blankly at the walls, his eyes haunted by failure. Relocated to Evergreen Zoo for his safety, the wild was too unstable. Kibo became Titan, a name meant to honor his resilience. But the scars remained, buried deep, waiting for a trigger. Back in the present, Sarah delved deeper into the files. She uncovered emails from the Rwandan team. Subject displayed: premonitory agitation week prior to event. Possible seismic sensitivity. Ignored at the time as coincidence. As Sarah pieced it together, subplots unfolded. Dr. Harlan was under pressure from the zoo's board to boost attendance after a slow season. He'd ignored the geologist's warnings about the slope, prioritizing a new exhibit over repairs. Mia, the intern, harbored her own secrets. A budding romance with a geologist named Alex, who tipped her off about the risks. Outside, visitors lingered despite the tension. Eli's group had moved on, but the boy kept glancing back, drawn inexplicably to Titan. Ms. Harper noticed his distraction but attributed it to excitement. Titan's pacing intensified. He clawed at the wall, exposing cracks. A trainee radioed, "He's targeting the old section. We need backup." Sarah rushed out, confronting Harlan. "Look at this photo. He lost his child in a slide, just like what might be happening here. He's not crazy. He's trying to save us from ourselves." Harlan waved her off. "Animals don't remember like that. Get the tranq team ready." But as he spoke, the ground trembled again. Picnic benches on the slope shifted slightly. A few visitors felt it, murmuring uneasily. In a twist, Alex the geologist arrived unannounced, alerted by Maya. "The fault's active," he warned. "Micro-quakes all morning. That slope could go any minute." Sarah's dread peaked. She envisioned the chaos. The ridge collapsing, swallowing paths, benches, people, and Titan trapped in his enclosure, reliving his nightmare. Tension built as the morning wore on. Titan's growls turned to barks, echoing like thunder. Visitors thinned, but some stayed, captivated by the drama. Eli, separated again in the confusion, wandered back to the glass. His small hand pressed against it, mirroring Titan's earlier pose. Sarah spotted him. "Eli, get back!" Too late. Titan charged the weak wall, his full weight crashing against it. Concrete cracked, rebar bent. Dust exploded as the barrier gave way. Screams pierced the air. "He's out! Evacuate!" Titan burst free, not rampaging wildly, but with purpose. He bounded up the path, ignoring fleeing humans, eyes fixed on the slope, and on Eli, who stood frozen at the edge. In Titan's mind, flashes of the past, little one's tiny form slipping away in the mud. Not again. Not this child. Parents scooped up kids, strollers overturned. Security fumbled with tasers, but Sarah yelled, "Don't shoot! He's not attacking!" Titan reached Eli in seconds. The boy turned, eyes wide. Titan's massive arms extended, not to harm, but to protect. With a gentle yet forceful shove, he pushed Eli back, sending him tumbling safely onto grass. The earth roared. The slope fractured, a massive rift opening where Eli had stood. Soil cascaded down, burying fences, benches, and paths in a torrent of dirt and rock. Dust billowed like a mushroom cloud. When it cleared, silence fell. Eli coughed, scraped but alive. Titan lay nearby, panting, his body a shield against falling debris. He'd positioned himself to block the worst, taking minor hits. Sarah approached cautiously. "You did it, big guy. You saved him." Titan's eyes met hers, exhausted but at peace. The weight of 4 years lifted. Emergency teams swarmed. Paramedics checked Eli, who sobbed but was unharmed. Ms. Harper hugged him tight. "You're okay, sweetie," geologists confirmed. A localized quake triggered the slide, exacerbated by erosion. Alex's data showed precursors Titan had detected. Harlan, shaken, admitted his oversight. We should have listened. Subplots resolved. Mia and Alex's relationship strengthened, leading to zoo reforms. Sarah advocated for Titan, preventing relocation. He's a hero, not a threat. The viral video exploded. Gorilla predicts disaster, saves child. Millions viewed Titan's heroic dash. Eli visited weeks later, pressing a drawing to the repaired glass. Titan responded with a soft grunt, hand meeting hand. Expanded backstories. Sarah's own loss, a miscarried child, mirrored Titan's, deepening her bond. Harlan redeemed himself by funding slope stabilizations. Titan integrated fully with his troop, playing with Jax like a father figure. The zoo built a memorial, a statue of Titan and Little One, inscribed Instincts Unheard, Lessons Learned. Years passed in epilogue fashion. Eli grew up inspired, becoming a conservationist. Titan aged gracefully, his legend enduring. Twists. A hidden corporate plot to develop the land caused the instability. Exposed, leading to protections. The story culminates in a global movement for animal empathy, with Titan as symbol. Sarah retires, writing a book on his life. In the end, under his favorite tree, Titan watches the slope. Vigilant, but serene. This time, he was heard. If you like the story, subscribe to this channel and leave a like. Thanks so much for listening. See you in the next video.